Hey guys, it's Jaggle. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have my first attempt at a extreme trial guide during current content, so I'm sorry if this isn't amazing. I'm doing my best. I know a lot of you guys have really enjoyed my other guides, and typically I don't really talk in them. We kind of just do like text visual guides. However, I was worried with this being extreme that there was a possibility that me freeze framing it constantly and adding text to what's going on was going to make it a super long video. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of just watch it together, and I'm going to point out some things, and hopefully it'll be enough to get you guys through the fight. I hope you're enjoying Endwalker, and if you guys found any of my guides helpful, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me out immensely. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut up, and let's get into the fight. Alright guys, so Hero's Radiance is going to be the first cast that Hydaelyn does. This is just a large raid-wide AoE. You just need light mitigation and some healing to get you through this without any issues. But you do want to heal up because Shining Saber here, the second cast that she does, is going to be another raid-wide AoE. So if you don't have some healing or decent mitigation, then the two of them back-to-back will kill you. Now she's going to do Crystallize. This is the first really important mechanic that we need to look at, because what's going to happen here is Hydaelyn is going to channel an element, and whatever element she channels, it's going to basically make us have to do something different. This is the same as normal. We're going to have three different elements that she can channel. One is going to be ice, one is going to be earth, and one is going to be water. The first one is always water, and what water means is light party stacks. We have to split into two groups to soak stacks that are going to go on the healers. So before you start the fight, you want to pair off your party into two light party groups. As you can see, we've done here, we have a group 2 and a group 1. We're just going to go to our designated marks here. As you can see, those are the only markers that we use, were 1 and 2. It was really all we needed. So let's go ahead and check out Crystallize. You can see she's doing water. It also makes an audible sound. You can hear like water bubbling. And then she's also going to channel one of these little like shields or crests around her, and there's 3 different options we can get for that as well. We're going to have green, which is a circle AoE on her hitbox, which means get out to the outside of the arena. We're going to have red, which is going to be a cleave around her hitbox, which means get inside of it. And then we are also going to have blue, which is a 2 line AoEs that form a cross over her hitbox. So to be safe from that one, we're just going to have to go to Inner Cardinal. So as you can see here, we have the green guys here. That is going to be get out. That's going to be the AoE around her hitbox. It's going to extend a little past her hitbox. And then we've got the water here. That is going to make us have to stack right after. So let's go ahead and watch and see how we handle the mechanic. We move out to get out of the AoE, and then in to soak the stacks. Easy peasy. Now she's going to do Mago's Radiance. This here is just another raid-wide AoE, so make sure you're healed up or mitigated for this. Then we have Oriole. This is one that we're going to need to pay attention to, guys, because Oriole can be either regular Oriole or lateral Oriole. And what that means is if it's a regular Oriole, we need to be on the sides of her, because it's going to leave like little pizza slices of safety where we can be over here to the sides. Going to shoot out like this. So if you look at the little flank markers actually on her hitbox here, that's going to be the easiest way to determine where your safe spot is for this. So if we just go to the side of this little flank marker here, either side of her, that's going to be the safe zones. I recommend continually going to the side of where your group's going to stack, though, just to build the habit of doing it. You'll also need to watch out because there's a variation on Oriole called lateral Oriole, where it's the same thing but north and south, and you'll see that here soon. But let's go ahead and keep watching and see how the mechanic is handled. Alright, as you can see, we move right to those flank markers and we're perfectly safe. Then we're going to have another Crystallize here. Alright, this time she's doing ice. You can see the crystals, and it'll also make a noise for ice. Like, you'll hear it if you've ever fought a Shiva. And then this is red, guys. This is the one I was talking about that is going to be in. These red guys here are going to indicate in. So since we have ice and in, what this is going to mean is that we need to all go inside our hitbox, and then after it resolves, we need to run out and spread, basically like an E12S. If you've ever done that fight. Something that could be helpful to your group in this is to assign clock spots before you start the fight. That way everybody goes to the same spot and you don't run each other over. But if you guys are careful, it's not too hard to do it without that. Out and spread, and that's the mechanic. Easy peasy. Alright, then we're going to have a shared tank buster. This can be shared by the tanks, or it can be invulned by one tank. Are heavy mitigated, so that's kind of just up to your tanks to figure out how they want to handle that. Here we go, guys. This is the one I was talking about, lateral Oriole. This is going to be north-south instead of east-west. So you'll see here, we're going to just move north-south of our hitbox for this one instead of east-west. I've noticed that if you look at like the little tails coming off Hydaelyn, this one's like a little bit offset, so if you just scooch to the right of it a little bit, you should be completely safe. And I'll show you here. This is what I'm talking about, is like the tails, these little guys here. If you look at the one on the left here, I always just scooch to the right of it a little bit, and I'm usually in a good spot. Then we have another crystallize. This one is earth. As you can see, that's earth crystallized. That will also have an audible reaction. And then blue for enter cards. Blue for enter cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out here to enter cardinals. And then we're all going to run into the mid to stack. So as you can see, the Astro went out there. That's not the normal. The reason why the Astro moved out there is because their health was a little low and they didn't want to take the stack damage. Luckily, everyone else in the party had pretty good health, so they were able to do that and adjust on the fly and keep moving. Alright, now we're going to have ad phase. This is the second phase of the fight. Congratulations, guys. You're moving right along. So how this phase of the fight works is Hydaelyn is going to spawn these crystals here around the outside of the arena. There's going to be several of them. And how this is going to work is Hydaelyn is also going to spawn 2 ads called Echoes of Hydaelyn. What's going to happen is each tank needs to pick up one of those ads. These ads are going to send tethers to the crystals that they're near. So what we need to do is have the 2 tanks basically stack on top of each other with each of their ads and move them away from the crystals that are going to have beams of light coming out of them. The reason why we need to do that is because you can see the conviction gauge down here. This is going to fill extremely quickly. The conviction gauge here is going to fill extremely quickly while the crystals with the light beams on top of them are still alive. So we need to kill the crystals with the light beams really fast to slow down the build of this conviction gauge, because if the conviction gauge builds, we wipe. So let's go ahead and watch and kind of take a look and see how the mechanic works. Alright, so this is the pillar of light here coming off the crystal. You can see it's got like this big beam of light shooting up off the top of it. The 3 crystals that have that will always be right next to each other. So the other one's going to be here, and the other one's going to be here. So the tanks would need to pull the ads to this side of the arena away from these so they get untethered, and we can kill them, because whenever the crystals are tethered, they get a defensive buff, and it's very, very difficult to do damage to them. So the tanks will pull them north. And then we're going to take out the crystals here. Once we've taken out all the light pillar crystals, you'll see the conviction gauge is going to slow down quite a bit and buy us some time. So what we're going to do now is the tanks are just going to keep rotating, and we're going to keep rotating behind them clockwise, counterclockwise. It doesn't matter. It's basically just whichever way you guys kill it. You know, if you go right to left or left to right, it makes no difference. It's just however they fall. We're going to go around and kill the rest of these crystals. Also, I will say this, the tanks are going to take a bit of damage from these ads, so make sure you have some mitigation on them. And be prepared to heal them. Maybe save a cooldown or something. Then we're going to just help them finish off the ads here. They should have them pretty much almost dead. And now we're on to the next phase of the fight. Alright, we're going to want to heal everyone up to full after the phase transition. Also doesn't hurt to use a little mitigation there. Just a shield or something. You don't need anything crazy, but do a little mitigation there. Then we're going to have Halo, which is another raid-wide AoE. Heal up after that. That one's not too bad. And then we're going to have Lightwave, guys. This is the first kind of difficult mechanic, but it's really not that bad once you break it down. So what's going to happen is these crystals are going to spawn around the arena here, and then we're also going to have the waves of light spawning in the back over here, as you guys can see. These are the light waves here. These are the crystals here. Now what's going to happen is these light waves are going to roll very slowly across the arena this way. Now, every time these light waves come into contact with one of these crystals, it's going to send off an explosion that does a pretty large amount of damage. If you get hit by 2 of them, you're going to die. So what we need to do is to hide behind a crystal that's not going to be touched and use it to line of sight the AoEs. So basically, you can see where the party's at right now. What we're going to do is we are going to move over to this crystal here. And we're going to LOS this wave as it hits this crystal here. And then we're going to just scoot a little bit to the side to LOS this wave as it hits crystal here, because they're kind of staggered. And you'll see what I'm talking about here. Let's go ahead and watch the mechanic play out so you can see it. So you can see how these waves are lining up. This crystal's a little bit further behind than this one, so this one is going to get hit first here. So that's the one we need to watch out for. So we need to make sure we're line of sighting this crystal here to avoid the big explosion that's going to go off. So as you can see, we're kind of perfectly lined up right now. You just want to be in line with that other crystal. And then we kind of rotate a little bit counterclockwise to avoid the second one that goes off right after it. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So what's going to happen here is the group's going to have to split up because there's going to be role-based AoEs going out on us. So how we've been handling it is the healers stay at the first one so we can just keep casting and keep uptime. DPS move to mid, and then tanks will rotate around to the far crystal here. The reason why we do that is because that way the melee and tanks can keep uptime as they're moving it around, and then when the tanks park here, the melees can get rear positionals on it, and it just allows the DPS to have more uptime. Now, this isn't really important, guys, because the DPS in this fight is actually a joke. I've cleared it multiple times with like healer LB3s and almost skipping the second phase of light waves. So don't stress about this too much. Do it however it's easy and works for your group, because you don't need the DPS. Don't worry about it. Just clear the fight. So this is how we set it up. We have tanks. We have tanks going far. So tanks will go to this crystal here. DPS here. Hold on. Let me use a better color here, guys. I'm sorry. All right. So we got tanks here. Deeps here. Heals here. All right, so that's how we're gonna do it. So healers stay, DPS this way, tanks this way. Go ahead and clean that up. All right, and now we will watch how the mechanics handle. Also, as you can see, these light waves are gonna hit this other crystal here on the way out, so we need to line of sight that as well. There's the roll cleave going off on everybody. We were all spread out. Damage was split pretty equally. Then we're going to have another light wave. All right, so this one is going to be a little bit different here. As you can see, the 2 waves are spawning in the back, and the crystals are over here in the back as well. And then we have this crystal in the center. So what's going to happen is Hydaelyn is actually going to do a pretty large cleave. So the tank will need to face her north here. And she's going to do a half arena cleave. Half arena cleave like this. So what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna need to have the party positioned back here behind her to avoid this cleave. As soon as the cleave goes off, the party needs to move behind this crystal to line of sight these waves that are coming, and we're basically just gonna dance around it because these are staggered as well. So you can see this one's a little bit more forward than this one here. So what we'll do is we'll come to this side, then we'll move straight through to this side, and then over to the other side. We're basically just going to make a 4-corner pattern around that crystal as the light waves hit to LOS them. And you guys will see what I mean here. And actually, why don't I do this? Playback. We're going to adjust the playback speed here. So it's a little bit slower so you guys can see. Alright, so we're stacking on our ass. Tank's got her face north. She's going to do Hero's Glory, which is going to be the cleave there. Then we're all going to run north. Get behind the crystal. As you can see, this one's gonna hit first, so we should be on this side over here. This side over here. So you can see it. This one hits. We need to be here. Straight line across. Same with this one. Straight across. And then they'll hit the ones behind us. Same thing. We're just gonna do straight across. So if you just keep yourself straight across from the waves that are coming, you'll be good. I'm gonna get hit by this one, I think. Oh, nope, I moved. Good, we're safe. Then we'll move to the other side. Straight through for this one to hit the crystal over here. And then over to the other side to avoid this crystal over here. Very, very simple. And then after that, Hydaelyn is going to jump to a crystal, either to the back right or back left, and we're going to run across and get behind it to avoid this last light wave that's going to come out in the middle. Here, we'll rewind a little bit here so you can see this. All right. Doing the dodge around the crystal. See how she jumps over to this one here. We're going to run to that crystal behind her. To LOS this light wave coming through here, and that'll be the last LOS we need to do. We will all regroup in the center, heal up, and whatnot. Then she'll do Halo, which is another raid-wide AoE, so we want to make sure we are healed up and have a little bit of mitigation here. Next we have Hero Sundering, which is just a solo tank buster, heavy mitigation or invulns. Make sure you're not standing in it too. As you can see, our other healer just died. So like I said though, guys, not a big deal. You can have some deaths. Shining Saber, again, that's the split damage between the party. Make sure you heal up, mitigate for that. All right, then we're gonna have an out. As you saw, she did green. That's out. Get out. Then we're gonna have Magos Radiance again, which is another raid-wide AoE. Sorry about that, guys. My notifications are on. Then we're gonna have another Crystallize here. All right, this one's gonna be ice, and I think this is also refulgent orbs. So, all right, what's gonna happen here, guys, is you can see these green lines on the ground. What's gonna happen is this little refulgent light orb. Any Shiva gamers in the chat will know what's gonna happen here. You don't want to touch these orbs. It means death for your group. So what's gonna happen is she's gonna send these orbs out to the tips of these green lines and like all the intersecting points. So basically these green lines here are gonna become riddled with refulgent light orbs. Now how we handle this mechanic, since as you saw she did crystallize ice, which means we're gonna need to be spread. So how we handle this mechanic is we just go to the gaps in between here. You can stack up with people. It doesn't really matter for the first part. We just want to make sure we're in a safe spot. And then once the orbs go off, we're gonna just spread out to avoid any ice overlap and running over any of the boys, you know. So let's go ahead and watch the mechanic play out. There's the orb spread. This is where they're going to explode with small circle AoEs on them. Everybody looks pretty good in their position right here. Then we spread out for ice. Yep, back into the boss. Oriole, which is going to be a cardinal stack here. This is going to be the pizza slice. So we're either going to need to be on her flank or on the south of her hitbox. Oriole is flanks. Lateral Oriole is north-south. So don't do what I did here. I actually went to the wrong spot. But yeah, right after that goes off, we do need to be prepared for this Oriole to move back in and stack up. Let's go ahead and we'll go back and we'll watch this one more time. Crystallize ice, put out the refulgent orbs, spread to resolve the ice. Then we have to move in for the Oriole or lateral Oriole. I went to the wrong spot, but we adjust because we're gamers. And we're good to go. That's it for that mechanic. Now she's channeling a outside cleave, so we'll want to get into her hitbox. Then we have Mosa's Scorn, which is another shared tank buster. Again, tanks, totally up to them how they want to handle this. And I'm going to be completely upfront, guys. I am not a tank expert, so if the advice I'm giving on how to handle these is bad, I apologize. I've played a healer or a DPS the whole time I've played this game. And if you have a better way to do it, just post it in the comments. I'm totally open to it. If you have a good way to handle those, I'd be more than happy to pin the comment if someone has a good strat for that. So. All right, and then this is kind of like the mechanic that seems to be a struggle in Party Finder. So Parhelion, what's going to happen is Hydaelyn is going to channel 3 of these like fan blade attacks, and these are going to send Chakrams to the outside of the arena. Kind of similar to like the ones you'll see in T. The Chakrams shoot out and back in and do damage, and we're also going to have a water stack channeled during this. So we're going to have a couple of mechanics that we need to deal with at the same time. It seems really complicated, but it's not, guys. I'm going to break it down really easy for you. All right, so basically, you can see all 3 of these stacks are out now. All 3 of these AoEs are out now. So what's going to happen is this one was number 1 here. That'll be the first one to go off. This will be the second one to go off. This will be the third one to go off. So what's going to happen, since we're going to have a crystallized water stack here, is Light Party number 2 is going to stack right here on the outside of this Chakram, and Light Party number 1 is going to stack right here on the inside towards the boss. Now, if you guys want to split up your light parties to where both the melees are in Party 1 and both the ranged are in Party 2, that's totally okay, because it's going to allow them to keep uptime here. But again, like I said, the DPS check is very easy on this fight. You don't need to do that, but you're more than welcome to. So how this is going to work is as soon as this first Chakram goes off, we're all going to run over to the other side here. So I highly recommend pre-popping Sprint before this mechanic goes off, because we want to make sure we get over there safe. And I wouldn't panic because the water is going to go off before that. So you guys will see here how simple this mechanic really is when it's broken down. Let's go ahead and check it out. And then as you can see, we also have another lateral Oriole going off after this. That doesn't have to be lateral. It can be the other one too. So this would be a north-south after or east-west. I went to the wrong spot. Don't do what I did. All right, then we have an intercardinal. Back in. Radiant Halo, another raid-wide AoE. All right, and then this is going to be Lightwave, guys. This is the last mechanic of the fight. This Lightwave is going to be a little bit different. As you can see, there's no crystals, and the Lightwaves are spawning around the outside of the arena. So what we need to do is we need to look at the pattern these waves are moving in and move to the spot that's going to be safe. There's going to be another light wave here on the other side of the arena, but as you can see, we've got this guy's going to move in this way, this guy's going to move in this way, and this guy's going to move in this way. So this whole side of the arena here is not looking very good. It's going to be a very small safe spot. Let's go ahead and watch the mechanic play out. As you can see, back behind me is safe. There's no wave coming from the side. So this is going to be our safe spot. That way these waves can go across the side and here safely, leaving this quarter of the arena safe for us. So we're just going to pull the boss over here to the corner and do DPS. We're going to have a stack marker. You can mitigate for this if you want, or just heal up after. It doesn't matter, but you do need to heal after if you don't mitigate. As you can see, another light wave is coming in behind us, so now we need to move. We're also going to get another Moses Scorn, which is the shared tank stack, and a spread. So you can do this one of two ways. You can either have the tank stay and everyone else move, or the tanks can run to the mid and everybody can spread around. Either way is fine. Just make sure you're all in safe spots. There's a tank stack, everyone spread. Then we're all going to meet back up in the middle, let all these waves resolve on the outside of the arena. Then we're going to get another crystallize. This one is water. So we're going to have Shining Saber, which is the raid-wide AoE. We're going to definitely need to mitigate and heal for this because the water goes off right after. Yep, mitigate, heal. Water stacks resolve. Then we've got an in. Now we have Lightwave again. It's literally just going to repeat Lightwave, guys. This is the victory lap. Once you've cleared the first Lightwave, you have number 2, and that's it. The fight's over. So we're going to go ahead and pull her over to the safe corner again and DPS her down. And congratulations on killing Hydaelyn, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton.